Welcome to Slasher Sunday. All right, let's talk about a washed out film with a washed out actress.
That's good. You were saving that one? Came up with that on the spot or earlier?
All I can tell you is that I'm excited for this because typically Kayla does not tell me beforehand that she's going to go in on a movie. But you said something when I was walking to the bathroom and you're like, I'm going to tear this movie to shreds. Was that what you said?
I don't know if that's
something
what
like
I
that?
said.
It was something like that.
After we finished the movie, I was just taken over by a blind rage.
This is such an ugly film. This is one of the ugliest films we've watched.
It's hideous.
Yeah.
It's hideous. It's got this gross yellow kind of faded color grading or filter on it.
Yeah.
It looks so bad. And it makes it look really dated to the 2000s, too. Because I feel like this was a common, color scheme for some films. It's supposed to make it look kind of gritty, I think.
Yeah.
But it's bad. It's bad. It looks horrible.
Yeah, I don't know what the attempt is. I had said while we were watching it that I felt like that they were shooting on digital, and this was when digital was still fairly new to filmmakers who were trying to figure it out. And this is I want to say this is this director's directorial debut. So it's probably a bunch of first timers who were kind of trying to figure stuff out, and maybe they wanted to go for this 70s gritty grindhousey kind of look to the film. But man, it just literally just feels completely washed out. If you were to
Very
just
washed
leave the film stock in the sun.
It almost has
a few days and let it just blanch all the color out of it.
Bleached out. It almost has a sepia tone to it as well.
Ugly ass.
And there's
film.
also, I really didn't like the cinematography. There's some weird editing choices in the latter half of the film.
The style choices.
Yeah, I was not a fan of those.
Yeah.
At that point I was already just not into the movie, so maybe for people who enjoy it, they like that. But
the movie's called All the Boys Love Mandy Lane. We did not mention that at the start.
You saw it by clicking on the... Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you saw it by clicking on the title.
Yeah.
I forgot if we included
Well, some people title. Just see Slasher Sunday and
they're
just... Or sometimes, it just goes to the next video.
That's true.
Yeah.
All the Boys Love Mandy Lane is a stupid title, too, by the way.
I don't hate the title.
I do.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I think it plays well into the film because the movie really is just about how nuts boys go over a pretty girl.
Yeah.
Right? It's just all the boys in this movie love Mandy Lane. They are willing to kill for her, die for her, do anything to try to get with her.
Yeah.
And she's there, right, in this movie with other girls that are, pretty as well.
Oh,
but
sure.
she just has this thing about her, and it's kind of the untouchable, virginal
The thing that is about her is that she hasn't slept with anyone yet.
Yeah.
That's what they're all into, which is gross. I feel like
very
this is
typical,
a film...
though.
It's very typical.
Movies.
I mean, it is gross, though. Throughout the film, the way that the guys treat her and everything, it's super, icky. But
sure.
I feel like this is a kind of movie that I should have gotten into, especially with, the twist in the end and, everything. But I don't like it. I really didn't like her character, if you can even say that she has a character.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
I felt like she was so flat the entire time, and I don't feel like it's explained by the ending either. I still feel like she could have had a character and, been evil.
For those of you who don't know, Amber Heard is Mandy Lane, so if you're wondering who we're referring to. But, yeah, I mean, she really shit the bed with her career, huh?
Yeah. Too soon.
Too soon. It's just, yeah, I don't know. So I watched this when it came out. I didn't like it. And then it ended up on the 50s slasher list that Exploding Heads did. And Dave was a big fan of it. Gave it 4 stars when he always makes fun of me for giving 4 stars to everything. He gave 4 stars to this one. And I was like, all right, I'll give it another watch. It's been almost 20 years since I've seen it. So maybe it will have aged better. No, I still didn't like it at all. I don't like pretty much anything about this film. I think it looks like shit. I think the story is extremely generic. The twist doesn't work for me because I don't care about absolutely anybody.
About anyone, and it's also like, it's not really even a revenge story.
No,
like that's
it's a manipulation
of what it is.
Story.
Yeah, and I mean, as much as like rape revenge and those kinds of things can be maybe controversial and stuff, at least there's like a satisfaction that comes from them with like, like victims being able to kill or whatever, hurt their attackers or people that have hurt them, and that's not the case here. Like the guys are all gross and like trying to push themselves on her in various ways, but truthfully it's mostly just the one guy that's like really aggressive about it. The others are just kind of like
typical boys.
The black guy is like actually pretty sweet to her. Like he asks if he can hold her hand.
He's totally
if he can kiss her.
Yeah, he's totally
he's like saying like, I'm not like the others and all that. And like, he's trying to be like polite to get her to sleep with him, but at least he's like, I don't know, at least he's sort of acting politely. And even though he's like, can I kiss you, and then he kind of tries to go at it again. But to be fair, she's also very like, she doesn't like straight up be like, no, stop.
Right. Which,
okay, like that's not, I'm not trying to victim shame or anything, because obviously there are ways that people can say no. Like if you're like uncomfortable clearly, then yes, like you should stop. Like but at the same time for high school age kids who are kind of like, I don't know, like I can see him being like, maybe this is my in to like kiss her or whatever.
He's in that awkward stage where he doesn't really understand the cues of like yes and no, and he's shooting his shot, and like, I don't know. There's nothing terrible about him.
No, and then the stoner guy.
The stoner guy is just fucking stoner
like,
guy.
If anything, he's more into the other blonde. It feels.
He's just excited when she falls asleep on her.
Yeah.
On him, and he doesn't try to touch her or anything. He just kind of like leans in and kind of just embraces the moment of having her even acknowledge him. So it is the one guy who really is the piece of shit. And then there's the guy in the opening who...
Yeah, I was going to say, I guess we should start with the opening.
He's a piece of shit, for sure, and I didn't care that he died. I didn't care that anyone died. The only likable character in the entire movie, which I think is kind of on purpose, I guess, is our ranch hand, played by Anson Mount from Hell on Wheels. But yeah, I just...
So the guy in the opening, okay, like my thing is like, yeah, he was definitely being like a douche, but he didn't deserve to die. Like nothing has been to the point where any of them deserve to die, and him getting like talked into jumping off the roof.
Are we talking about by movie standards or by literal, like in life standards?
Okay, I mean, yeah, it's hard. Movie standards, I guess it's fine, but I just felt like I guess the main thing is that I don't like that whole scene because she doesn't have any reaction to it. And even if in the end it's supposed to be like she's fucking like a sociopath or something, I feel like she would still have reactions to things. Like she would at least still pretend to have a reaction, but maybe not. Maybe that's supposed to be like, this is her true self. Like she's looking up and is like, oh, he'll do that. Like what else can I get him to do? Kind of a thing.
I don't really understand the movie at all as far as like the motivations for anyone or anything. Like as far as Mandy Lane's character goes, one of the reasons that this movie doesn't work, not only because she is emotionless, which I guess maybe goes towards her sociopathic behavior, so maybe that was what they were going with, although Amber Heard in any movie I've ever seen her in is fucking straight-faced and just dead on arrival. So I think it's just her performance as an actress. You know, she just kind of used her beauty to get in. But putting all that aside, just thinking about it from a story standpoint and why an ending like this would work with this reveal of the killer who's finally revealed to be the obvious character from earlier in the film who didn't get invited and was, following her around like a hurt little puppy and talked a guy into fucking killing himself. I mean, he's so clearly the killer, right?
Yeah.
So when it's revealed that he's the killer, it's no big surprise there. And then, of course, the big twist is that she and him made a pact to kill everybody and then themselves, which you're such a dipshit. Of course she's not going to actually kill herself.
But also these are like all new friends of hers, right? That was like one of the things when she was asking to go, like she was asking her aunt or whatever.
Yeah.
And was like, like they're new friends, like this should be good for me. So I'm like, what is the thought process behind this? Like she just wants to kill these random kids, like
that's what I'm saying.
Because?
I don't. This is why the film doesn't work, is not only because she's barely a fucking character, she barely has, like, a pulse, but in addition to that, typically what we would get in a moment where a reveal like that happens, and there's the characters that are having the back and forth with one another, like Mandy Lane and, or Emmett. Emmett is like, okay, like we said we were going to kill ourselves, here's your pills, whatever. There is, and I guess in one way maybe somebody would like this, and I'm usually okay with this to a degree, but the lack of literally any exposition at all of what the motivations behind something like this are, it lacks that kind of depth that comes from an explanation of why. As I said, like there's movies where no explanation actually adds to the creepiness.
Well, and there's also tons of movies.
Michael Myers. Like, why the fuck why does Michael Myers kill?
Right. We watch a lot of people that like don't have motivation for why they're killing. They're killing randomly.
But this doesn't feel like that at all. Like,
it doesn't. It doesn't.
With Halloween, I can just for myself be like, sometimes people just go evil, right? Like he's the embodiment of evil. He's the boogeyman. He's whatever, right? Like I can fill in those blanks. But with this, when it's played more straight and our characters seem to have something going on.
Yes.
There's just a lack of coherence with the concept. Like it's like, what exactly happened in the end here? Like, what did she promise him? What exactly are they doing?
That's the thing. So it's like, okay, we kill all these people.
He was bullied, but they don't have any real connection to him.
It's like, yeah, exactly. So it's like, okay, let's kill all these people. I mean, people are mad at him because he made somebody jump off a roof.
How many of these?
That would be something you would be like pissed about. Like regularly, like not just because like you think the person is a weirdo.
How many of these slasher movies have we seen at this point where the killer in the beginning has something happen to them and they want revenge for the prank that was played on them or whatever? I mean, there's just so nothing here.
So, okay.
It's just like, let's just kill people and then ourselves for no reason.
So what I was like trying to think about was like, okay, like she's not even sleeping with him. She's not doing anything with him to be like, here's your, like, what we do. The only thing I can think is that they do it together. They kill themselves together. Nobody else gets her, so she's like his.
Right.
And they get remembered together, right? Because he, like, writes all this stuff down in a journal or whatever, but...
They'll be, like, coupled in death.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, that was what I thought, but I'm like, I just don't feel like that's strong enough for, like, a young kid that... I mean, I guess we do see that he's kind of fucked up because he gets the guy to jump off, right? Like, so, maybe at that point... Maybe that was, like, something she told him to do.
That's what you have to assume.
Like, that's, like, okay, like, if you can get him to jump off, like, we'll plan something together. Or, I don't know.
But if you could just give her any kind... So, like, there's where good acting comes into play. Where you can have these, like, subtleties in her performance. Where when he makes her, like, jump, there's some kind of, like, something in her face that is uneven, that you're like, I wonder that. And then when you have finished the film and you go back, it's like admiration. It's like, oh, I like what he did.
Right,
for me.
right,
but
right.
you could play it like horror, like what did he do? But then it's like, ooh, what did he do?
Absolutely. So I think that her performance is like a big part of like what's lacking. I also think that the writing is not good too. But I think that like if there had been maybe more of a focus on like her manipulation of people, where like when you watch it the first time, you're thinking like you maybe don't think that much about it, but then when you go back and like or at the end, it puts everything else into like a different context. Like there's tons of movies and stories where we see that happen, where it's like you think somebody is a good person and they're doing things like, you know, with no ill intentions, and then you find out like all along. So I think that kind of stuff could have been done, but yeah, I don't know. I also don't really like any of the kills.
Oh God, no!
Like at all.
The jaw splitting when he puts the gun in her mouth is the only thing worth remembering at all.
Yeah, well, for me it was the eyes, like getting cut across the eyes, but that wasn't what killed him. It was just like that was kind of gnarly. But he's such a wimpy, like Emmett. Is that his name?
The killer?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
such a like. It's just not, intimidating person, which...
He's very meek.
You know, he does get beat up a bit, obviously, but then he has, like, a knife, so he's able to fight, because he has weapons and stuff. But yeah, it's just, it doesn't work with the no explanation about motivation.
Yeah, no, it doesn't at all.
It makes it definitely hurts the film. Like, it needed to have something, even if it is just her being like, I want to see how far I can take this and, like, how much power I have because of my beauty or whatever.
If she was a more likable person, if the characters in this were somewhat relatable or like entertaining, or I just found the whole movie to be kind of painful to sit through because you don't like anybody. Everybody's actions seem so over the top, and it's just, I don't know. It really just doesn't work on any level for me, and I'm kind of bummed. I'm glad that we covered it on the channel because it's like I want to cover like every slasher ever made if I could. But goddamn, yeah, this one is rough. So if you are for some reason a young boy, just remember that girls are not prizes or objects.
No.
For you to,
Nobody is a prize or an object.
No.
But that's definitely how they treat her in this, which is really angering.
It's very common, though, in these types of movies.
Yeah, where it's the guys that are like, oh, she hasn't slept with anybody yet. Like, I called dibs. I called dibs. And it's like,
crazy.
What are you talking about? You're calling dibs on a person?
Yeah.
Like, you called dibs on fucking the last scoop of ice cream, not on sleeping with someone for the first time.
Yeah, like she has no autonomy, right?
But then it's so aggravating because I'm like, she's a person, and the entire film she's just like, no personality. And I'm like, is she a person actually though? Like, so you're right. Like, I think if she had been able to play her more likably, then the ending would be much more impactful at least. Like, if she was really this like just charming like sweetheart. But she's not. Like, even when she's, like, trying to be all, like, coy and she's, like, twirling her hair with the ranch hand and stuff, I'm just like, this is so, like, it's so basic and so, like, bland.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel anything. And...
it's just very flat.
Very flat.
Yeah. And the other girls in the movie as well, like, the brunette one is getting shit from the blonde one for being... fat?
Oh my god, we were laughing about this so much.
Fat? They're like almost exactly the same size.
Yeah, she keeps calling her chubby.
Yeah.
And like being like she's fat, like she's doing it to herself and like all this stuff.
The blonde has like no boobs.
What are you talking about? That's like the literal only difference, pretty much.
And that's about it.
They're like so close to the same body. The blonde is like taller, and then the brunette is like a little shorter, a little bit more filled out, but they're both super skinny. Oh, and, like, I know it's supposed to be, like, she's just being catty about it. Like, she's just trying to, like, make her feel bad to make herself feel better kind of a thing. Because she's obviously very insecure. But it's just very funny because it kept coming up and we were like, what is she saying? Like, why would she say that?
But then the way that the other one kind of tries to get back at her the brunette towards the blonde as she tells her pubic hair is too long. From what we could tell, she was. I mean, we can definitely tell she's snipping at it, but also she pulled out a thing of hydrogen peroxide, which I think she's trying to, like, lighten her vaginal hair to, like, make it look like she's a natural blonde. I think is what that attempt was there. But we didn't see her pouring it down.
No, we just saw, like, a vial of something.
Maybe she pulled that out because she thought she was going to cut herself while cutting.
Oh, maybe.
And she was going to, like, pour it on there.
Yeah, I don't know. The way that she says it, she acts like she has, like a bush. Which is fine, but definitely doesn't look like that when she's wearing, like, her swimsuit and stuff. And, like, I don't know. I guess I would, in the 2000s, I don't know. I don't know what the, like, trend for women's hygiene was, but I feel like a full bush has come back into style recently. But I feel like in the 2000s it wasn't.
What do we mean by a full bush? You mean legs and everything?
No, like you just...
That's in like the hippie circles.
No,
maybe.
okay, like you know how like in like the 70s and stuff?
Yeah.
Like women just had like pubic hair? Like
the 70s was like legs, the whole deal. Like they didn't do any grooming at all. And then like...
I don't know.
It wasn't until maybe the 90s... as far as porno goes, like if you look at pornographic magazines, especially like Playboy or Hustler or porn, like I grew up on watching, looking. If you look back in like 70s porno mags, the girls have hair everywhere. I mean, it's just fucking everywhere, right? And then in the 80s, it gets much more trimmed down. Yeah. And then it starts to like as the era goes on, then you get like the landing strip and
I
that
always
and
thought
stuff.
That was really cute, actually.
And then into the 90s is when really it got heavily into like the grooming patterns.
Oh, the patterns
of stuff. Yeah. And then in like the 2000s and above, it's all now on. It's all been just completely hairless.
Which I mean, for porn, it kind of makes sense because it's like you see more of like. Just that area, obviously. Sure. But I feel like, unfortunately, a lot of the trends that are in pornography, like women and like especially teens and stuff, like kind of end up modeling themselves 100%. After because they're like, well, this is what's sexy, like this is what I gotta do. Right. So I was just kind of surprised because I felt like in the 2000s, like 2000 to 2010, and like even in the teens, that it would have been like you probably wouldn't have had a lot of pubic hair or anything, but maybe that's what it is. Like maybe she has barely any and the girl's just giving her shit for having any pubic hair, which is so funny to me because like now I feel like maybe not in the porn industry, but I just feel like I hear a lot more women online talking about like just being a little bit more natural with their hygiene down there, which is fine. Like I think people should do whatever they want to do, obviously, but
yeah, like young guys and young girls even, like especially this is why I hate fucking teenagers and people in their early 20s for the most part. Not all. There's always exceptions to the rule on anybody, but hanging out with a bunch of them throughout my life, I can tell you that I've heard some definitely wild shit from a lot of people. Guys that are like, I would never touch a girl with any hair down there of any sort.
That's so
like,
crazy.
If I saw any, I'd be out.
That's so crazy.
What the? No, you wouldn't. Maybe they would, but that sounds
so
insane.
Crazy.
Like, what? You're out the door, please. Yeah,
well, because there's
and then girls that are like, if a guy has foreskin, I'm out.
Oh yeah, that's messed up
too. That's a pretty common.
But
one.
I think that comes from just people being like unfamiliar with it.
Sure.
Because like the foreskin thing, I'm like, that's like technically better for penises.
Well, that's I mean, that's how we're literally
right?
born.
Like, it's just, I mean, like, because you clean it just like you would clean like your vagina, like you would clean your foreskin and stuff. So
you would hope.
Well, you should.
That is what I was gonna
like,
say.
if you're not
cleaning
it, then I can understand people being like, I don't know if I want to do that. But that goes for vaginas as well, right? Like, if you're not cleaning yourself, if you don't have hygiene, either way. Yeah. Anyway, but obviously there's also this whole, like, I'm sure you've probably heard it, but this, like, the trend of, like, women having to be, like, completely bare. There's, like, some, people that talk about, like, it being related to kind of, like, pedophilia, because it's, like, women aren't naturally bare down there. Like, once you hit puberty, you start growing pubic hair. So it's, like, you're only bare prepubescently, right? So it's, like, and I don't know, I think that's interesting. I don't know if that's the case for everybody, but
I mean, that would suggest that
all men
are pedophiles.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if most men prefer that. But at any rate, getting back to the movie.
Yeah.
It's sad that I don't necessarily like any of the people, but I did feel bad for the two girls in this because it just felt like they were trying so hard to get these guys' attention, and like none of the guys were like that cool.
Not at all.
So it was like, why are you trying
lame.
so hard? Like they're kind of like fighting with each other, and you know, like doing all this stuff. Like the one girl, the brunette, goes out and straight up gives the asshole a blowjob, and then is like, okay, time for you to go down on me, and he's like, no.
She's like, no, and he leaves her in the dark.
Crazy.
And she gets fucking a double-barreled shotgun rammed down her throat and breaks her jaw. Like that's what she gets for her efforts.
Yeah.
That was definitely brutal. The blonde girl, she's like snorting endless amounts of Adderall.
And then she starts taking something.
I don't know what
she's doing.
I think she might just be taking full Adderall pills.
That doesn't make any sense because she's like trying to calm down, but she's like taking Adderall.
Maybe not.
That would be
she's
crazy.
Taking like Valium. I don't know. She takes a lot of drugs.
She does.
She might have died.
She might have died anyway. With how thin she is,
she had booze. Oh yeah, because she gets topless in this movie, and she's very small.
Yeah. So she had alcohol. She had Adderall that she snorted. She had pot, which would be fine by itself. Then she had whippets. Then she took some unknown prescription that most prescription pills you're not supposed to mix with alcohol at all.
Yeah.
They're drinking like the entire movie. I feel like they are always drinking.
Well, they also steal a keg of beer.
Yeah.
From a guy, which is such a fucking stupid scene. They like put it in the truck. And then the guy's like, hey, and he like sees them, and then the guy just jumps into the truck and they pull away, which that scene actually didn't make any sense because he just jumped onto the back, but then he was in the truck the next cut, which was 1 second later.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Doesn't matter regardless. But then they just like drive off like, that's that, like, ha ha ha, I guess we beat him. And it's like, he would have just jumped into his truck and came after you. You're just like, he's 10 feet away in his car. Like, that was such a weird breakdown of logic of, like, this like, full-grown adult male cowboy-type guy is just going to let kids rob hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of beer off of him without, like, tracking them down. Because if you don't return the keg... Like, it's a big surcharge, plus because you have to pay to take it, and then you get money back when you return it. I've gotten kegs before, and they're heavy as fuck, by the way. Oh my God, they're so insanely heavy. And this guy would 1000% jump in his truck and chase them down the road. He just lets them go. He's like, well, they drove away. What can I do?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like at least he could have gotten their license plate.
They could have, like, let the air out of his tires.
Oh,
one guy could have let the air out of his tires while the other guy was like starting to get the keg or whatever. Like, just this is what I'm talking about. This is what I always say. If I can think of a better scene in 5 seconds off the top of my head, this just shows me how lazy the writing is.
Yeah.
Like, why would the guy not jump in his truck? He's just all of a sudden he's like, well, I guess those kids got the best of me, damn rascals.
Yeah. Yeah.
The one girl did flash her bra at him, which is like, what are you trying to do? You trying to like get raped? Like, what are you?
No,
that is so stupid.
They're just like horny, and they're just like they think they're hot shit. That's all.
They think they're hot shit,
and they're just like, of course, every man loves me. And he is like, wow, those are some mighty fine ladies you got there. Which I'm like, sir, they are in high school, sir. Not that he necessarily knows that, but yeah, like they're just being like. I don't know. They're just being dumb teenagers. That are like...
me as a pedophile, I guess. Since all men are pedophiles, according to Kaylee.
No, that's not what I said at all. I did not say that. Don't twist my words and take them in the wrong way.
You're like, it's very interesting. But
no,
anyway.
I've said that there is commentary on that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it more than anything,
girls also like when guys shave their dicks.
Yeah.
And when a kid has no hair on it, or when
But-
a person has no hair on their dick,
But
when they're
girls
a baby, You
are
like babies.
overall women are like made to be like the younger the better, like acting younger, looking younger, all these things, whereas that's not the case with guys. So having that element in guys as well, like, yeah, I agree. I don't know, I think people should do whatever they want with their private parts ultimately. Like, I don't really care what people are doing.
Yeah.
But I've just heard of that because people look at like the trends, right? When you look at it on like the large scale, and it's like not just that, but then all these other things that maybe contribute to like a similar viewpoint, perhaps. I don't think all men are pedophiles at all, except this guy in that show might be a little bit. Just kidding, he's not.
What guy?
The guy that they steal the keg from.
Oh, right. What other
This guy in
things?
that show, known as Sinister Cinema Reviews on YouTube.
Right. The black guy in this movie is Dante from The Purge, the stranger in the first movie, and then he becomes like one of the like rebel leaders in the third movie. Remember, he comes back. He's the survivor of the first movie. That like,
I don't remember
comes
all
into
the Purge movies that well, to be totally honest.
And the house in this definitely looked a hell of a lot like the one they used for the Hewitt house in Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. And I wrote boobies. I always write down when there's boobs in the movie, because there's pedophiles like me out there. All men.
What the hell? You and your all men.
Leaves. Oh yeah, we already talked about all that. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, the dude gets a blowjob and then he's like aggressively trying to get with Mandy Lane. Like 2 minutes later,
Yeah.
Kayla was like, "He's a teenage boy.
Yeah.
He can recoup that fast, I guess."
Well, sure.
I'm done for the day.
You're like
43 years old.
One
I'm just like,
blowjob.
all
That's
right,
it, babe.
I'm good for the week.
Week?
Yeah, that's not true.
No.
Keeps going. Yeah. That's pretty. I mean, one thing as far as trends go here. It's funny to see the belly button jewelry.
Oh, yeah.
That was such a popular thing in the early 2000s.
Yeah, their outfits in general and their haircuts and everything.
Those low-cut
very,
jeans.
Very 2000s, yeah.
The
low cuts are coming back, but it's
one
more
of them has
like...
a tramp stamp too.
Oh, really?
Tattoo
That's
on
so
the-
2000s.
yeah.
The low cut, like the low rise, like are definitely in fashion again, but they're like the skinny jeans are not. So it's like the really baggy low rise pants
Yeah.
are like what I see most like young people wearing.
Like Michelle Rodriguez wears in like Fast and the Furious. She wears like baggier pants, but they're low.
Yeah, I think
low
those are
cut.
cute. I actually like that look a lot. I like it. But the low rise like super tight ones, I'm like. But these are mostly shorts, I think, that they're wearing in this. And then the Mandy Lane has this one skirt on that she wears that's like also so 2000s that I hate. It's like kind of tight up top with like kind of some frills, and it lands like just above her knee.
Yeah.
I hate that kind of skirt. It looks, I don't know. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the belly button ring, their hairdos. One of the asshole guy in this looks like very much like Steve Harrington.
Yeah.
I kept thinking it the entire time, like he has like the exact same haircut.
Yeah.
And he was like wearing sunglasses for a lot of it, and like he, even when he doesn't have sunglasses on, like his face actually looks kind of like him too.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But I mean, Steve Harrington is the fucking best.
Oh
I mean,
my god, yeah, Steve Harrington.
Steve Harrington, the first season.
Yeah.
You know, up until the end. Because, you know, for anybody who knows, I'm sure a lot of people know this by this point, but Steve Harrington was supposed to be the, like, villain character of the first season, and he was supposed to die in the like, finale, or at least towards the end of the season. And he was just so lovable on set and begged the Duffer Brothers to, like, rewrite his character to live. And they just, they loved him, and they made an exception and changed his character, and now he's like, arguably like one of the most beloved characters in the show.
Oh yeah, he's got a great character arc too. Like
Yeah.
I think it's always great when you can have a character that goes from being like, kind of a bully, kind of an asshole, to now becoming like the adoptive babysitter dad. Of,
Always the goddamn babysitter.
It's great. I think that's really fantastic. This guy is not like that at all, though. There's nothing lovable about him. He just has the same haircut.
If Steve Harrington was this awful, there would be no redemption for him.
Yeah.
Like Steve is kind of just a dipshit jockey kind of kid who doesn't really think things through, and he just has his head on his dick, and he wants to get with as many chicks as he can. Pretty typical high school type of guy. But he's not a dick to Nancy. Like, he's not a piece of shit to her or anything. He just does some stupid teenage boy stuff, like really basic, normal kind of teenage angsty nonsense that's like very forgivable if you can turn your shit around. But the kid in this is just such a shithead motherfucker, like rapist in training.
Yes. He's gonna be a date raper. Yeah. He would have been a date raper for sure.
But Mandy Lane and the
ranch hand? Garth?
Garth, yeah. Garth.
Is such a...
Wayne and Garth from Wayne's World. He survives. Well, I mean, I would assume he probably survives if she gets him to the hospital. Because that's always the rule in movies. As long as you're alive when the credits roll, like, you're good.
Survived.
You're good.
She was gonna kill him, and then she was like, I can't. For whatever reason. I don't know why she decides not to kill him, just because she likes him, I guess.
It's funny, they'll even retcon that stuff after the fact. So, like, in Lethal Weapon 2, Riggs is supposed to die, and they, like, decided to change that. But if you watch the scene, he's like clearly dead in Murtaugh's arms, and then when they're like panning back, they're adding them like laughing and talking and coughing and all of this shit.
Yeah.
And it's like he's shot a good amount, and it's like he's fucking dying. He's dead. But as long as you're alive during the credits,
then you're alive.
And then he's obviously in 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Which I love all 4 Lethal Weapons, so I'm very glad they changed their mind last minute. But it's pretty clear that Riggs is supposed to die in that scene. But I just find it funny. I've always thought about that scene anytime when like the credits roll, as long as you're still breathing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the end of But then there's other characters, especially ones that never get sequels, where the fate is just kind of left unknown.
Yeah, I don't like
the
that.
driver in Drive, right? He gets stabbed, and then he's sitting there, and he looks like he's dead for like a full minute straight, and then he like moves and drives off, and it's like, did he survive? did he just drive until he fucking blacked out 5 minutes down the road, or did he get to a hospital, or what? Anyway. Stupid ass movie. Fuck Dave for making me watch this shit again. Making you sit through it. I've had to see it twice now.
Oh, yeah. That's awful. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I can't think of any Amber Heard performance I've ever liked. The only things I can even remember her from is Aquaman and Drive Angry, and I think she's in Sin City. Is she in Sin City 2? I know.
I didn't follow all of their trial or anything, but I've always been a fan of Johnny Depp. And I know that whenever it came out that she was like abusive towards him,
that she shit in his bed.
Yeah.
And then there was a recording of her where she was like admitting that she told people that he hit her when they didn't and shit like that, and was like doing it purposely to fuck him over.
Well, and it messed up Johnny Depp's career too.
Oh yeah,
because
he got fired from Pirates of the Caribbean 6, and Disney fired him completely.
All of the Harry Potter stuff that he was.
Oh yeah, Fantastic Beasts.
And I've always really liked Johnny Depp. I mean, I don't know anything about him personally, obviously, so he could be a total piece of shit. But from what it sounds like with that trial, she was like a total manipulator, like Mandy Lane, and
100%.
was awful. And I mean, that just shows you too, because I think that there's so many, there is such a focus on like male abusers, and like obviously that's a problem, but there are women that can be horrible to men.
Oh my god.
And can ruin lives, and
100%.
women that can be horrible to other women, and like all kinds of things. So it's like, it's definitely not just guys that can, be the assholes and be like horrible people.
It's a human problem.
It's a human problem for sure.
Just think about how we treat animals.
No,
bro.
I don't want to think about that, because I'll kill people, actually. I'll actually like murder people.
Yeah.
Don't hurt animals, or I will appear and snap your neck.
Good. Do it. All right. Well, that's that. We talked about a lot of things here.
We did.
Just for the record, if you're a man, Kaylee does not think you're a
No,
pedophile. I was just kidding.
I don't. And I like to bring stuff up that I hear about.
You know how many fucking random topics we brought up on this channel?
Just conversation.
We're not learned people. We don't know what we're talking about.
No, I haven't read any studies about this. This is just a theory that I have heard.
Colloquially. Fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Like TikTok.
Through the grapevine.
Yeah.
Not through TikTok
just
anymore.
Just like scanning one fucking... All men are pedophiles! You're like, oh... They like fucking hairless vaginas. You know who also has hairless vaginas? Babies!
It's true, though, actually. That is true.
Yeah, you know who else is bald? Cancer patients.
And
I'm married to a cancer patient, I guess. I have a thing for tumors.
Rub it.
I want to fuck your tumor.
I don't have cancer or a tumor.
All right, Sinead. Let's fuck.
It's not.
Let's go.
Is it? Does she sing? She sang.
Yes, she sang.
I never heard of Sinead O'Connor.
Fight the real enemy. You don't see. She's not from my generation.
I didn't even know who Sinead O'Connor was until like this year.
Nothing compares to you.
Oh,
was her big song. Yes.
Compares.
Yeah. And she went on Saturday Night Live, and she ripped up a picture of the Pope and said, "Fight the real enemy."
Oh, hell yeah.
And it ruined her career. Yeah. And then she became like a Buddhist monk.
Oh, nice.
And died maybe 5 years ago. Stop it!
Our dog is...
You! Okay? Don't make her break my neck.
I'll break his neck for you, Grugs.
All right, we're done. Bye, guys. No one loves Mandy Lane here.
No.
No.
Boo.
Boo. Bye.